decisions to reject bioenergy, only two were actually upheld by the Secretary of State when developers appealed themselves. Next slide, please. So what are some of the difficulties that community campaigners face? Well, I'm sure we'll hear more from Donna Liley next on this subject, but just in brief, a few, the Secretary of State ruling that planning authorities cannot take account of feedstock sustainability and climate impacts other than to require weak government sustainability standards to be met. Environmental impact assessments / statements are written by technical consultants requiring highly technical knowledge to be credibly criticised. And planning departments are expected to assess technical reports that have been hit hard by budget cuts. If a local authority rejects an application, the developer can appeal, but objectors have no such right themselves if an application is approved. Next slide, please. On top of all this, DEFRA has proposals to change air quality reporting rules. So they're proposing to abolish the requirement for local authorities to monitor and report on air quality. Only government-maintained monitoring stations will be retained, a small minority of current air quality monitors. And without this, there will be no explicit grounds in planning policy for refusing planning applications. So that could be a really significant hurdle for communities if this goes through. Slide, please. So finally, this brings me to power station location and deprivation. Studies have found evidence to suggest that industries often have a disproportionate impact on more deprived communities, particularly studies from the US, which is an issue of environmental justice, which can be defined as a human right to equal access to a clean environment and equal protection from possible environmental harm, irrespective of race, income, class, or any other differentiating feature of socioeconomic status. So we did our own research into this topic, looking specifically at biomass station developments. Next slide. To do this, we used the indices of multiple deprivation, which looks at more than just poverty as an indication of deprivation. It takes into account access to resources and opportunities as well. Next slide, please. And this is the result of our investigation, specifically looking at England. So the graph describes the distribution of biomass power stations according to their index of multiple deprivation rank. So for England, for example, the range goes from 1, which is most deprived, to 32,000, which is least deprived. So you can see here that, well, 0 to 10, the percentile 0 to 10 is the most deprived areas in England, and 90 to 100 is the least deprived. So the graph here is skewed very much to the left, and the more deprived areas, which led us to conclude, next slide please, that biomass power station developments are being built in areas which are relatively more deprived than elsewhere in England, and that further study should certainly be undertaken into this important area of environmental injustice. Now I'd like to hand over to Donna Liley, who will continue this discussion by talking more about how waste-rich shipping operations will affect and do affect